Hello there, everybody. Yes, the marvelous, marvelous voice of Marvin Gaye. Hello, everyone. How are you doing? You know, he was so far ahead of his time. This particular album was one that was released in Japan. But my point is that if you listen to the lyrics, he saw this. He saw what we're living in right now, as they would say, right now. So, anyway, how are you doing? So good to see everyone. Thank you for tuning in. I just speak favor over all of our lives. Nothing missing, nothing broken is how we love to say it. So, what's up? Hey, Francis, what's up? The Soul Tribe is prospering, and I am prospering. We are prospering. It works, I'll tell you. These angels, Poyel, Ariel. Oh, there's just, quite a few. Those of you who got the book, who study them, you know this. Hey, when you pass over, you will like the fact that if someone talks about you after you're into the next round, because somehow or another, I guess they know about it. So there you go. Hey, Jules, what's up, hon? Good to see you. Chrissy Hines, what's up? Good to see you. Hey, Big Al, how's the project coming? Hey, Jack Dreaming, much peace over there, over in the UK. David Castle, how's Rufus? Lost in Space, much favorite to you, my friend, as well. John Price, Guy and Paul, much love to you both. Elder Barry, how you doing? I saw Martin and Heidi in there. Go, what's happening? Good to see you. There's Martin and Heidi. How are you? I'm telling you, I'm exceptional. In fact, I am so good. I got to tell you, I don't think that there's anything better than that. But anyway, what's up? What was the famous line? I love it. The line in Wall Street. Charlie Sheen playing Bud Fox walks in. He's at the pinnacle, getting there, man. I mean, he's got a hold of the golden apple. And the receptionist says, how are you doing this morning, Mr. Fox? And he says, any better and I'd be guilty. But then again, I was never that innocent to begin with. Famous line. So, boy, I tell you, just digging it. Hey, Grace, what's up? Good to see you, Susie Q. Twilight Traveler, can you rub some of that confidence on me, Wayne? All right. Put your hand on the screen and I will send it screaming through. There you go. It's all over you, man. It's all over you. It's like getting your hand in honey, and you don't know it, but you will soon find out, right? Because it's sticky. Hey, Blanca, haven't seen you in a while, my dear. Good to see you, Emperor Rex. Nina, the Mystic, I know you got your hump day show today. And Trina, much love, hon. Fabulous show yesterday. Suzanne, good to see you. It's a groovy day. Something about Marvin Gaye. I love that song. You got to give it up. Mm-hmm. Y'all remember that scene in the movie Paul? Yeah. He says, like, no one knows what this guy is saying. Yeah, they do, Paul. But that's all right. Let's see. So Jennifer Roberts, our Jenny, she has set up a GoFundMe account for Posy. She lost her house. And the link is down below. I think Teresa, much love to you, dear. Hey, Sally, good to see you. And the 51 Project, hello. So the link is below. And hey, way I look at it, $5 helps. And I also got an email from Mary Wins. Geneva, one of our in the tribe, she's having a difficult time, but I didn't have any contact information on it other than her YouTube channel. So if I can get some more information, and I know that she lives up there in Canada. So when I get more information, I'll pass it on. It's just the reality, folks. We're in different times. Hey, Robert V, good to see you. Beloved Abstract, good to see you, hon, as well. Mark, good to see you. from Southern British Columbia, Canada. Bosto to you, my friend. Shannon, good to see you. Hello. So, yeah, we'll help them out. That's what we do. And let me say something else. If you're not taking zinc, you should consider it. Really. It's a supplement that you'll be grateful that you did. We missed our angel the other day. So I need to head it up here. And so it seems to be right appropriate time. This is Imaiah, like Isaiah, Imaiah. There you go. Imamiah. This is the angel of recognition and repairs of errors. Deus Caligini Tactus, God hidden in the darkness. Now that's an interesting thought. Why would God be hiding in the darkness? Is God in the darkness or goddess? I don't know. Choose your flavor, whatever it happens to be. God hidden in the darkness. You know, I was meditating this morning and it was most curious. I found myself sitting in, the only thing I can describe it is just me. I didn't know if I was floating or if I was sitting on a floor, but I do know I was sitting in the lotus position. And it was real interesting because I could see behind my head without me turning my head. And it seemed like when I had a thought, I could almost see it project out into the darkness in this unseen kind of screen. And I realized that I was there because I wanted to be there anyway. And the darkness was all around, but the darkness couldn't be found on me. It was weird. I love these little, rest stops that we take along the highway here. Hey, Steiger, got to go. That's all right. But it was interesting. God hidden in the darkness. Yeah. This is a place for thinkers. This is deep thinking. Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? The Trialite Traveler says that I was in, is that Samadhi? Is that correct? So Twilight, tell me a little bit more about Samadhi. It was a very pleasant place. I mean, I was literally in the lotus position, and I thought it was curious because that's not something I don't do in the physical, but there I was, and it was in, I got it. Anyway, I digress. Samadhi, is that right? Samadhi? I'm probably saying it wrong. So anyway, this angel is the protector of the oppressed and imprisoned physically and mentally, spiritually. Brings understanding and recognition to our karmatic errors. Brings the ability to repair past mistakes and redemption of sins. Has the power to settle the karma and free us from our debts towards other people. Wow. I mean, there are some angels. Al, I think you might concur with this. There's some angels that are just, they're what they do is just kind of cool. It's very up, it's very high energy. And then you've got others like this. I mean, to go back and to settle the karma and free us from our debts towards other people. Whoa. See, that's an interdimensional being that transcends time. That's the only way I could see how you could do it. How else would you settle a karmatic debt of a past action other than by going back there and just nudging a little bit? Thank you, Twilight. Yeah. Well, I'm going to check that out because I want to know more. It's a very pleasant place, folks. You're very aware there. I mean, it's interesting. It's a place, but it's not a place. I was alone, but I wasn't alone. You know, it's kind of interesting. It's like it's like having a conversation with all of you, I guess. I don't know. Jules, well, I'll continue. This is a cool angel. Teaches patience and humility and gives a great force of will and brings patience during some of the hardest challenges of life. Well, I know this angel has been with me. I may have not known its name, may not have known what its game, but this angel has been with me. I'm absolutely convinced of it. Restores our faith in ourselves and modesty. That's an interesting term. Symbol of stable and emotional life. Bestows us with courage and physical and emotional strength when we are facing all different kinds of difficulties. This angel's going to be busy. I mean, because I can hear a lot of people calling on this one. Fills us with energy and or to execute difficult tasks. Teaches the capacity to comfort, support, and take care of others. Shows how to carry out hard tasks more simply and easily. Provides with vigor, enthusiasm, magnetism, and leadership skills. Protects from cruelty, ignorance, defamation, and slander. I love this angel. Liberates us from demons and chaos. Wow. Pretty cool. Fosters our endurance in the face of adversity. You can actually use that word adversity as Satan. Small s. Not a big S, small s. That's what accuser, an adversary. Cures lack of refinement, vanity, jealousy, lustful relationships, and perverse desires. Well, I guess it depends on whose list you're saying that perverse desires fall under. I don't know. Helps with intolerance and impoliteness. Oh, heals. Okay, excuse me. Helps in situations like a difficult destiny, confrontations of all kinds, arguments, conflicts, malice, insults, lies, and animosity. Cool angel. I mean, wow. Far out. You gotta love this. All right. I got to get into this because there is an interesting thing happening right now. I mean, we are part of it. There is probably, as no other time in recent history, that have we witnessed the single largest, and depending on your point of view, evolutionary leap of our species. The human genus is splitting. No doubt there will continue to be sapiens, but without a doubt, there is a new genus of man coming, of Homo. And this transhumanism, it almost seems as if it was part of the program from the get-go. These things take time. But when they reach a critical mass, the leap is almost instantaneously. I want to show before then, hey, Steve Rossi, what's up? Hey, Jenny, good to see you, and Michelle D. So I found a particular little treat that I wanted to share because this one is kind of really cool, folks. So we've been talking about, because all of this is all related somehow. It's all interconnected. And I found this one to be most interesting. So, and I'm not going to get all into it, but I want to get into enough because I think you're going to like it. So this is an interview with Lucifer. And I'll get onto it. It says, recently, the light bearer disclosed the mysteries of his occultic kingdom, including the physical and spiritual laws that govern the universe. So by implication, Lucifer is the god of this universe. This is what it's saying. Knowing the vast majority of humans would reject his uncomfortable truth, the father of lies proceeded to write a book revealing the hidden secrets of antiquity. Well, if he's the father of lies, why would anyone believe it? Come on, let's just see what he has to say. When asked about his motivation for such an endeavor, Lucifer scornfully laughed and replied, it was an experiment for his own twisted amusement. He predicted the reception for Morning Star Tales, that's the name of this little document, would be met with universal scorn, ridicule, and derision, summarily dismissed as the rantings of a madman. Ironically, his only honest revelation was relegated to the dustbin of failed novellas. The Morning Star was delighted. So here we go. Here's Mr. Francis Bacon. He is, you do know, the author of the King James Bible. It wasn't all those translators. It was this dude. But that's neither here nor there. It says, the desire of power and excess caused the angels to fall. The desire of knowledge and excess caused man to fall. So what Bacon is saying here, if you're a knowledge seeker, then you're just repeating the pattern that got you here. You fail for knowledge, the desire of knowledge. And apparently it's somehow a forbidden fruit, unattainable merely to the mere mortal man. Well, so let's hear what Lucifer has to say. Not Satan, not the devil. This is Lucifer. Allow me to pull back the dimensional veil that separates us and enlighten your dimly lit mind. We are pretty dimly lit minds compared to a mind that knows everything. After all, you're only an image. A few million years ago, at the conclusion of my first rebellion, the Ancient of Days had the timidity to accuse me of excessive pride, as if I should be held accountable for achieving perfection in beauty, power, intellect, and wisdom. Why should I ascend to a position befitting my brilliance? In the book of Isaiah, now we know that this was put by Jerome, but let's just write, all right? Chapter 14, verse 13 says, I will ascend to heaven and set my throne above God's stars. The book of the secret of Enoch, chapter 29, verse 3 says, and one from out of the order of angels, having turned away with the order that was under him, conceived an impossible thought. Well, if he conceived an impossible thought, how could he have the thought? It was impossible. To place his throne higher than the clouds above earth, that he might become equal in rank to my power. I love to meditate on the word. His dogmatism provided the divine spark for a third of the angels to choose my light. I am the other Alpha and Omega. In the end, my presence in the third heaven was a threat to his dominion, and the seed of jealousy took root in his bitter heart. Ezekiel chapter 28, verse 17 says, your heart became proud on account of your beauty, and you corrupted your wisdom because of your splendor. So I threw you to the earth. I made you a spectacle of you before the kings. Oh, there I go again, getting ahead of myself. Suffice it to say, he and I have been engaged in our cosmic chess match for a few millennia. Truth be told, my falling out with the Ancient of Days predates your creation, an intrusion upon my earth. On balance, the judgment levied upon me was quite capricious, considering my only indiscretion was to evolve into a god, while being denied the praise and adulation befitting my station. Even in this present age of grace, others are angels: Michael, Raphael, Gabriel, Uriel, Zachariel, and Raguel must still acquiesce to his envy, to his every whim and demand. Of course, the final insult levied against my eminence was the creation of images made in his own image. Don't you just love the Christian part of this? I mean, I love this. Despite the contrarian nature, my divinity has remained steadfast from the inception of eternity. My desire for power in excess alone with yours for knowledge led to our mutual expulsion from the garden. Yet how differently justice was served. Images received the gift of unmerited reconciliation, yet I was bestowed with the yoke of damnation. Hebrews chapter 2, verse 16 says, "For indeed, he does not give aid to angels, but he does give aid to the seed of Abraham." Images are a reflection of the Ancient of Days. Perhaps that will shed a little light upon my natural disdain for your kind. I opened your eyes, and you became like a god, knowing everything, both good and evil. You're welcome. Upon being cast out from the third heaven, I found myself surrounded by a formless mass, cloaked in the darkness of the first heaven of the third dimension. Pre-earth was my habitation long before the Ancient of Days terraformed the atmosphere, temper, and topography into a present third dimension prison of space and time. Fortunately, my little deception in the garden legally granted the earth back into my possession. I must admit, one of my better ploys. Once images desired knowledge more than their creator, your habitation was deeded back into my possession. So, what is the purpose of our unscheduled philosophical discussion? Shouldn't we be chatting about your drawing your last breath? Call it divine curiosity, but I've often wondered how his images would react if they were told the truth about my occultic kingdom. So, in contradiction to good judgment, I've decided to share a few of my secrets. However, here's your conundrum. Since I am the father of lies, you'll have to discern the truth from fiction. Shall we begin? Chapter 2, Planet Earth, isn't it? Sometimes people don't want to hear the truth because they don't want their illusions destroyed. Nietzsche. The illusion of planet Earth remains one of my favorite deceptions. Truth be told, and I rarely do, my Earth is flat, with a sea firmament dome above, a diamond-shaped underworld below. It's the floor of the universe, the ground zero of the first heaven. My flat Earth is the only physical plane in existence. Take a deep breath. Nothing is as it seems. The book of Enoch, chapter 18, verse 2 says, "I surveyed the stone which supports the corners of the earth." Psalms chapter 104, verse 5 says, "He set the earth on its foundation. It can never be moved." It's not the high-def digital clarity that holds the key to deception. Rather, it's the lens of perception through which your eyes view reality. In this case, the camera lens brings the lie into focus. There's no denying that video taken from above distinctly shows the Earth curvature. However, the only curvature is in the fisheye lens of the camera. It's not the Earth that has a curvature, but the lens itself creating the illusion of the curvature, like a mirage rising off a desert highway in the middle of the summer. These ultra-wide angle lenses produce a strong visual distortion, all the while creating a wide panoramic hemispherical image, like when a fisheye lens is tilted up or down in relation to the horizon. The result is an illusion of curvature. Tilting it down creates an orb curved effect. Now, I don't believe this. Do you? Is this truth? I don't know. Panning the shot from the low orbit position above to the flat Earth below displays the mirage of an orbed curved effect. Actually, that's the truth about what cameras lenses do. So many conundrums. You've been programmed to believe you live on a magical rotating ball with a circumference of 24,901 miles. That's absolutely correct. If this were true, then logically the ball would have curvature. To save time, here's the Polaris curvature equation. Based on the fictional round Earth circumference of 24,901 miles, 8 inches times the distance squared. So 1 mile equals 8 inches of curvature, 2 miles equals 32 inches of curvature, 5 miles, 16 feet, 10, 20 equals 266.6. Okay. For example, a boat 10 miles offshore should be 66.6 feet below eye level or the visible horizon. It's not. On my flat Earth, the horizon always rises to your eye level, whether standing on a beach or in a penthouse of an oceanfront building. That's because it's flat. What you believe is the Earth's curvature is, in fact, the vanishing line of perspective from your point of view. The flat horizon changes in relation to your vantage point, whether it's viewed from the ground level or a jet at 35,000 feet. Earth's flat horizon will have a different line of perspective. A boat disappearing over the vanishing line of perspective comes back into the view through a pair of binoculars. It's impossible if the Earth were a ball. There's a reason they call it sea level. Water will always find its level. To believe the heliocentric spinning ball theory, you must believe that the water surface is in the shape of what's underneath. If Earth was a ball, jets would have to compensate for the curvature with a constant downward trajectory. Otherwise, they would crash into the water firmament dome. In truth, jets fly level because there isn't any curvature. The artificial horizon instrument on the cockpit of the plane indicates whether the pilot is flying level to the horizon. This gauge is a mechanical gyroscope without a single internal electrical component, adjusting itself into an upright position, indicating a level flight in relation to the ground. Therefore, if a jet followed the true curvature of the fictional Earth ball, the artificial horizon should roll back to reflect curvature. The constant flat line on the artificial horizon instrument proves the horizon is always flat. In addition, the sundial, periscope, and lighthouse could not function on a round spinning ball. What about the Coriolis effect? This is whereby a mass moving in a rotating system experiences the Coriolis force acting perpendicular to the direction of motion and to the axis of rotation. This is the fictional cousin to gravity. In theory, the Coriolis effect deflects moving objects to the right in the northern hemisphere and in the left in the southern. If allegedly the force that makes a plane conform to the curvature of the Earth. So much fiction, so little time. Job 38:47 says, Where were you when I laid the Earth's foundation? Tell me, if you understand. Who marked off its dimensions? Surely you know. Who stretched a measuring line across on it? On what were its footings set? Or who laid its cornerstone? The evolutionary heliocentric theory states that you live on a spinning ball rotating at 1,000 miles per hour. Simultaneously, this fictional Earth ball is traveling around a burning sun ball at 66,000 miles per hour as the sun and other ball planets orbit the Milky Way galaxy at 486,000 miles per hour. These heavenly bodies within the Milky Way galaxy are collectively expanding from the original Big Bang at 670 million miles per hour. The foundational belief of the Big Bang theory is as follows. Two of the dots collided. Ha ha! I love the evolutionary childlike faith of Darwin. Your indoctrination began in kindergarten, focusing your innocent, impressionable eyes on the ambiguous fictional ball. So through was your brainwashing that you believed a magical, invisible force called gravity makes the oceans, buildings, and people stick to the fictional round ball, all while spinning faster than the speed of sound. Gravity is why people in Australia don't fall off the earth. Truth be told, I do on occasion. Gravity doesn't exist. Rather, it's a question of density. If it's lighter than air, it rises. If it's heavier than air, it falls. No gravity, just density. A helium balloon rises because it's lighter than the atmosphere. Those who adhere to the illusion of gravity believe it's powerful enough to conform the oceans to the planet, and yet weak enough for a butterfly to stay aloft. Gravity must be believed, or the spinning ball heliocentric model, wait for it, falls flat. Here's another example of the cosmos hiding in plain sight. You've been indoctrinated to believe the sky and the ocean get their blue color from the white sunlight reflecting off the oceans. In truth, I love the word in truth, the sky and the oceans get their blue color from the localized sun illuminating a singular encased sea firmament dome 3,500 miles above the earth of the flat earth, spanning 360 degrees around my flat earth. The sun and the moon are positioned below the water firmament of the dome, rotating in a clockwise motion above the flat earth. The water firmament dome divides the mortal first heaven and the third dimension from the eternal second heaven of the fourth dimension. I'm going to tell you what, this kind of scrambles your head because you're on the defensive, like, this is bullshit, man. But wait a minute. They're using real math. Now, do I believe that the earth is flat? No, but hey, maybe I've been indoctrinated. Been it before. But I love this. So the sun and the moon are positioned below the water firmament dome, rotating in a clockwise motion above the flat earth. Well, how are they rotating then? Where is the rotational element then out there? That's, anyway, I digress. The water firmament dome divides the mortal first heaven and third dimension. Did you get that? The mortal first heaven. So does that imply that there's a mortal second, third, fourth heaven? I don't know. And third dimension. So we're in the third dimension. No matter how you look at it, heaven is still in the third dimension from the eternal second heaven of the fourth dimension. The second heaven of the fourth dimension is the abode of my rulers, the authorities and mighty powers of darkness. They govern the first two heavens and hell 3,600 miles under the surface of my earth. Well, see, I don't believe this a second, but hey, what do I know? The book of the secrets of Enoch 1 and 2 says, and those men took me and led me up to the second heaven and showed me darkness greater than earthly darkness. And there I saw prisoners hang, watched, awaiting the great boundless judgment. And these angels were dark looking, more than earth darkness, and incessantly making weeping through all hours. Well, if they got hours, then that tells me they must be on a 24-hour system. Got to think this stuff through, but it's a great story. I told you I wasn't going to spend much time on looking at. Probably spend it. But let me just finish this out because we got to find out what the heck. And I said to the men who were with me, wherefore are these incessantly tortured? Why are they? Why are they being tortured at all? Where's the love, baby? They answered me, these are God's apostates who obeyed not God's commands, but took counsel with their own will and turned away with their prince, who also is fastened on the fifth heaven. So this is saying that Lucifer is already into the fifth heaven. Well, this gets deep. We'll now take a 5-minute break to reset your theology. You see this freaking battle here? I mean, I don't like the fact that we're put into this thing. I don't like the fact that if this demiurge is who's the responsible for this, this is a game that no mortal human being can ever win at. Because the minute you step into the arena, you've already lost. Wow. So there is this place apparently that's existed way before us. There are apparently angels there who are being tortured because they exercised their own free will. Well, if you're going to be tortured and punished because of your free will, no matter what your decision is, you never had free will to begin with. And turned away with their prince, who also is fastened on the fifth heaven. Okay. We get into Genesis 1, verse 6. It says, and God said, let there be space between waters to separate water from water. And so it was, God made this space to separate the waters from above and the waters below. And God called the space sky. In chapter 7 and 11, in the 600th year of Noah's life, in the second month, the 17th day of the month, on the same day were all the fountains of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open. These windows of heaven are the water gate portals affixed to the water firmament dome. You live below a sealed dome that contains a vast ocean. The book of Enoch, chapter 53, verse 8 through 11, all the waters which are in the heavens and above them shall mix together. The waters which is above heaven shall be the agent, and the water which is under the earth shall be the recipient. And all shall be destroyed who dwell upon the earth, and who dwell under the extremities of heaven. By these means shall they understand the iniquity which they have committed on earth, and by these means shall they perish. And again, this is R. Wayne Steiger's commentary. Up yours, Yahweh, you stupid son of a bitch, you caused all this, but yet you will genocide a species because of your ineptness and your incompetence. And then you've got this asshole talking who's representing himself as Lucifer. So what does humanity have a choice between? Two assholes? The only thing you get between two assholes is stink. That's all you got. And that's just my opinion. Next time, visualize that. In a spiritual sense, you're stuck between two assholes, man. I mean, of course it stinks. Another deception is the fiction of planets. Well, that's odd. We've landed craft on them, but okay, I'm buying it. Millions of spinning balls rotating around millions of burning star balls. Actually, the planets and the stars are a collective of habitation of angelic beings known as the Luminaries and stones of fire. Flickering, sentient, intelligent orbs contained within the sea firmament dome. If you want to see extraterrestrial beings, just look up into the night sky. The function of these interdimensional luminaries are to glorify my name. He would tell you otherwise. Just one of our many disagreements. I was the first stone of fire to be cast down from the fifth heaven of the third heaven. Oh, excuse me, of the fifth dimension to the third heaven. He goes on and says, Luke 10:18, he replied, I saw Satan falling like lightning from heaven. Well, we know that that's wrong, but that's all right. Isaiah 14:12, and how you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning, how you cut down to the ground, you who did weaken the nation. Through the lens of a telescope, luminaries appeared to have ripples, a natural occurrence, since my stones of fire are encased within the sea firmament dome. The sun and the moon don't display water ripples because they are below the water firmament dome, rotating clockwise above and around the flat earth within the third dimension of the first heaven. Jude chapter 1, verse 13 says, they are wild waves of the sea, foaming up their shame, wandering stars, from whom the darkness has been reserved forever. 7 of these luminaries left their preordained courses and are known as the wandering stars. Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, and the Moon are the 7 rebellious luminaries. And the number of my Luciferian council of 7, I am the morning star who rules over the 7 luminaries. The book of Enoch, chapter 18, verse 14, then the angel said, this place, until the consumption of heaven and earth, will be the prison of the stars and the host of heaven. 3,500 miles above the surface of my flat earth, the sea firmament dome acts as a translucent lens, revealing the luminaries in the second heaven, revolving clockwise around the flat earth. Again, it is the reflection of the luminaries through the hardened lens of the sea firmament dome that creates the illusion of ripples. Your eyes are not deceiving you. That's my job. The stones of fire rotate around Polaris, the North Star. Perception is reality. Polaris and my flat earth are the only 2 immovable center points in the universe. Polaris is true north and the direction of the third heaven. In summation, there are 10 heavens. The Ancient of Days rules the universe from the 10th heaven. Contained within the first heaven of the third dimension, the sun and the moon move from the east to the west around a geocentric, motionless, flat earth. The host of luminaries are divinely positioned above within the sea firmament dome. The book of the Secrets of Enoch, chapter 3 says, it came to pass when Enoch had told his sons that the angels took him on their wings and bore him up on their up to the first heaven and placed him on the clouds. And there I looked, and again I looked higher and saw the ether. And they placed me on the first heaven and showed me a very great sea, greater than the earth sea. Placenta is Latin for planet or wandering star. Neither the planets nor stars are comprised of terra firma and therefore impossible to land on. These stones of fire are illuminated through solanescence, which is sound creating light. These are the short burst of light emitting from the imploding bubbles through a liquid within the intense acoustic frequency. When displaced in water, these sound waves create heat in the form of light. I can see the glaze forming over your eyes. Yes, sound creates light. In fact, every inanimate and inanimate object in the universe is energy, corresponding to its own unique vibrational frequency. The Ancient of Days created every physical and material object from this light, infused at the speed of thought. To see is to be. It was good because he looked at it. He doesn't build. The material world is formed out of his creative desire. The supernatural laws of his fifth dimension kingdom supersedes the natural laws of the flat Earth's third dimension. Desire is the key to unlocking dimensional limitations. It corresponds to the intent and conditions of the heart. Unregenerated images cannot function under the laws of his kingdom and are subjugated to the prison of time and space. Before my rebellion, creation was in harmony. Presently, electrons move around the outside of the nucleus orbit in an elliptical fashion, causing the creation to groan. The original vibration is out of divine alignment. When his kingdoms comes, the electrons will return to their circular orbit around the nucleus, allowing the light of a redeemed image to shine from within. As it was with Adam and Eve before the fall, everything is based on the one you choose. Decide not to choose, and you made your choice. The light bearer is your default selection. I mean, is this some... I don't know who wrote this, but wherever their mind was at, it was out in the vastness beyond the comprehension of the cognitive reasoning ability of the average cranium. I love this. Do I believe it? Well, I just got to say this. You've got to filter it out, brother, sister. That's all I know. Rockets always curve after liftoff, preventing a crash into the water firmament dome 3,500 miles above the surface on my flat Earth. In truth, outer space is the beginning of the second heaven and fourth dimension. No astronaut has ever penetrated the sea firmament dome and the Van Allen belt. Only redeemed images who have severed the silver cord, died, relocate through this mortal barrier, arriving home in the fifth dimension of the third heaven, where they are cloaked in the garment of an internal transhuman body. Hard to believe. I hope so. Okay. I'll pick up tomorrow where I was going to do on the day on this transhumanism, but this is some interesting stuff. So let's get this right. When you die, you go through this dome. You have to sever the cord. All of us know what that is. And then we are relocated through this mortal barrier. That may be why it's so difficult to speak to the dead or the living. I don't know. Depends on yours. There's a barrier. Arriving home. Well, if it's home, that means that's where we came from. You don't go to a strange place and say, well, that's home. No. Arriving home in the fifth dimension of the third heaven, where there we're cloaked in the garment of an internal, I've seen this, of an internal transhuman body. The book of the secrets of Enoch, chapter 8, verse 1-3, and those men took me thence and led me up to the third heaven and placed me there. And I looked downwards and I saw the produced of this place, such has never been known for goodness. And I saw all the sweet flowing trees and beheld their fruits, which were sweet smelling, and all the foods borne by them bubbling with fragrance exhalation. And in the midst of the trees, that of life, in that place whereon the Lord rests, well, Lord is Baal, when he goes up into paradise, and this tree is of ineffable goodness and fragrance, and adorned more than every existing thing. And all the sides of it is in the form of gold looking and vermilion and fire like, and covers all. And it has produced, that has been produced from all of its fruits. I want to go back and look. So Enoch is now up into the third heaven, I guess, of the fifth dimension. And so he's looking at these trees. So kind of indicates that spirit beings eat, one would think. So, and all the foods borne by them. But look at this, at the tree of life. So this is where God rests. Must be a very powerful tree, because he seems to really be covetous of it when he goes up into paradise. And this tree is of ineffable goodness and fragrance. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. And adorned more than every existing thing. And all sides of it is in the form of gold looking and beryllium, and fire-like, and covers all. And it has produced from all fruits. Well, the word fruits is pearl, so that tells us that there must be a lot of thing. This is interesting. I don't know if this tree exists. I have to take it through the myths of the book of Genesis and others like that, that there had to be something to this. There was either a tree or there was something that apparently gives these gods, what we call God, their power. Anyway, unredeemed images, that's who we are, who put off the mortal coil, descend into hell, 3,600 miles below the surface of my earth. This is the second death, my moment of victory. Well, technically, on the great judgment day, death and hell are cast into the lake of fire. The second death, I just like to celebrate early. You can tell how this is really, obviously, a person is taking this from a Christian perspective, because Christianity didn't exist in the beginning. Neither did hell. Hell has a body similar to that of an image, positioned on its back in the center of the earth, constructed with multiple chambers of torment. The spirit of every image attracts like-minded spirits. It's always been a choice between the Ancient of Days and myself. Death triggers the manifestation of like-minded spirits, escorting each image to their diametrically opposed final destination. Hollow moon. Lucifer, the light bearer, strange and mysterious name to give to the spirit of darkness. Lucifer, son of the morning. It is he who bears the light, and with its splendors, intolerable, blinds, feeble, sensual, or selfish souls. Doubt it not. Albert Pike. You get the idea through all this. This is and we'll pick this up later. Although I have to tell you, reading about the moon becomes a even more. That is where they say many of these spirit beings actually live. But anyway, we'll pick this up later. Oh man. Wow. Oh crap. What do you do with that? I mean, the problem is that there's just enough gold nuggets to say, I think there's gold here. And you can see how this is all playing. So who's behind the technology? You know, in my meditation, when I was sitting in this place, Mahadi, what a great name, I tell you. It's interesting because when you see this paradigm we're in, I mean, it's a no-win conclusion. Now, I would put forward that this is bullshit. I mean, I love the story. I love the dramatics, the imagery. There may be a lot of truth into this, but the problem is it's based, again, on an indoctrination that says, well, that indoctrination isn't apparently good enough. And again, it's condemning knowledge. So if knowledge is bad, you know what that makes us? I'll tell you what it makes us. It makes us fish to be consumed, sheep to be roasted, and finally to be subjugated into a form of slavery. And the transhumanism that's taking floors today, and I'm not even going to get into that, I'll have to get in it to tomorrow, we'll make part 2, is the fact that we're all now in this dome, which I love the metaphor on that. It's a digital prison. I will be leaving the earth before this digital thing becomes integrated into organic flesh. I will. I know that. My destiny is not to be a part of what is coming. I don't even think that I could actually tolerate it. I don't think many of you could. We came in at a time and where we played, I don't know. Did we invent our own destruction? I don't know. But I do know this. I don't like this paradigm, period. I don't like it at all. It needs to be changed. And I can't help but think we got brilliant minds in here. I was reading some of the comments on yesterday's show. I don't agree with all of them, but I love the diversity of thought. So many different points of view, so many different ripples. And I keep thinking, if we're merely replaying a scene between two deities whose egos cannot be surpassed, that's insanity. We were never meant for that. And I don't know, and this is part of this transhumanism, because this is distinctly male. I think we all can agree on that. This is distinctly masculine. I ain't feeling the feminine here at all. I mean, I'm going, okay. All right. I mean, there's something going on here. There's another agenda, because there's no love in this. There's no love at all. You got one creature that's called Yahweh, whatever that thing is. And you got the other thing over here that most of us are of the opinion, if Lucifer exists, it's feminine. And I guess that would be the antithesis, though, of the masculine, wouldn't it? All right, so let's just buy this whole masculine thing. So you got this creature thinking that somehow, so what did they do? Is it really about death? Is this what it's really about? The book talks about the second death. There is apparently, in many different theologies, a spiritual death, that a spirit can literally be extinguished. I don't know, self-extinguished. But then I wonder, well, then how can energy then? Are we talking about different laws of physics and different dimensions that energy can, in fact, be destroyed? Because I don't know how you do it in this dimension. And if we're stuck in this dimension, then it would seem like we're an ever-ready battery. So what are these two characters about then? If it's about collecting of souls, how freaking stupid is that? I mean, that's not intelligence. Transhumanism, I'll tell you the difference between, while you're seeing the slide I did on that. Do you know what that is? Do y'all know what the C with the T in is? Do you know what that is? Do you know what that symbol is? That's Christian transhumanism. Christianity is moving into transhumanism. In fact, they will point to you and show you in Scripture that this is the ultimate destiny of man, that this was the original idea that God had, and that it is finally coming through the brilliance of technology, that we have now grasped the mind of God and have been able to place it within the mortal man to make him an immortal spirit. That's what transhumanism does. It's about intelligence. It's not about love. Love has nothing to do with transhumanism, and neither does religion. There's no love in religion. There's no love in politics. And so if you look at this from a perspective on the evolutionary chain, we're doing exactly, apparently, what this genetic madman is doing to us. Now, if you've got both of them playing humanity, using humanity basically as the proverbial pinball in the pinball machine, then all we're here for is to help the other side, or which other side, get points. And I don't like that. I don't like where that leaves us, because it leaves us in this submission role that apparently we don't have a, and then they want to whack us because we apparently make a decision. Well, if you don't make a decision, I'm your result. Well, screw you. I don't know who you are. And if it means war when I leave this realm, then war it shall be. Because I don't like any one of them. I'm going to pick up my marbles and say, screw y'all. Y'all are a bunch of cheating liars. Okay, everybody. Thank you for hitting up the like button. I like where this went. I don't know about you, because if this creature exists in the way that they present it, wait till you read about what the moon is. And the thing about it, I'll give you a little secret. It actually says that this is where these disenfranchised spirits go to. The moon is loaded with them. It's hollow. Are they just jacking with us? That's what I want to know. All right. Much love to everyone. Thank you. And thank you for spending the hour. I know you guys can, and ladies can go a number of other places, but this feels like home. This feels like family. And I always like doing it. So, all right. Homie, don't play that. Exactly. You bunch of cheats. That's what it feels like. Anyway. All right, folks. Thank you, Martin, Heidi, all the rest of you. Check out Nina. She's on, I think, in an hour right after this. Big Al, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I think she will. I'll agree with you on that, Al. All right, folks. Paul and Guy, all of you, much love. Bosto to all of us. We are Soul Tribe.